Carol Burnett, welcome back again to TCM.
Thank you, Dave. Did you have a good Thanksgiving?
I had a great Thanksgiving, got a lot done on Black Friday today.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, feeling good. And now I'm ready to talk about some more terrific films with you.
Wonderful.
So for anyone who was not with us last night, we're showing great classic musicals, followed by the takeoff sketches that you did on the Carol Burnett Show in the late 60s and 1970s. Now, the first one that we're going to do tonight is a little bit different because the spoof that we're about to show later is the Doily Sisters, which was your takeoff of the Doily Sisters with Betty Grable. For music rights issues, we were not able to show the Doily Sisters. So what we are going to show is Sweet Rosie O'Grady, another great Betty Grable musical comedy from 1943 by the same director, Irving Cummings, as the Doily Sisters. But I know that Betty Grable was such an important figure for you. Why was she such a favorite of yours?
When I was growing up, I loved every movie that she was in. And years ago, we bought the house that Betty Grable and Harry James had lived in. And then when I started my show, Betty Grable came on as a guest with Martha Raye. That was quite a week. She was so wonderful. And she came over to the house. We said, you know, we're living in your old house. You want to come over? And she came over and spent some time walking through the house and got a little teary-eyed. And she was just a delight to work with. Now, Martha Raye was out there. She was just wild, bawdy and with it and slapsticky. And Betty had this very wry sense of humor. So the two of them together as guests that week, well, I couldn't stop laughing. And Betty would undercut Martha every time. She had a great sense of humor.
I love it. So as we're about to watch a Betty Grable movie, in this case, Sweet Rosie O'Grady, where she plays this burlesque dancer who has success overseas in the UK, but then she gets outed by a Police Gazette reporter played by Robert Young, who explains to everyone that she's actually from Brooklyn. What would you say sets her apart as far as her screen presence?
You know, there's that thing they call it. She had it. There was just that quality that makes a star. You know, you couldn't take your eyes off of her.
And at this time, when this movie came out, she was the #1 box office draw in America. Sweet Rosie O'Grady, this film was one of 2 films that she put out in 1943 that were top 10 grossers of the year. I mean, this was really the peak of her success. And what's weird is at the same time, I went back to look at the New York Times review of this movie. And the review struck me as a little bit sexist, but the critics said that Betty Grable has as much screen personality as a marshmallow. And I thought to myself,
who wrote that?
I didn't have, it actually didn't say the person's name, it just had the article. But I thought it was very sexist that this writer probably wouldn't say something like that about a man. But clearly the American public was of a different viewpoint.
Absolutely, you know, that's ridiculous.
Right, she's much more than a marshmallow.
Oh yeah.
Was it easy for you then for her to be top of the list? You know, for someone to spoof?
No, I didn't spoof her. What we did was spoof the Doily Sisters, that movie,
yeah,
you know.
For sure.
But what we did was very unusual, and I don't think any other variety show ever has done it. We did it only the one time. It was the whole show.
Right, 40 minutes plus.
We did 40 minutes, all original music and lyrics and everything. And once it aired, I remember I got a call from my favorite movie star, Jimmy Stewart. And he said, well, I just love that.
Wow.
Yeah, he called and said, I just love what you did with the Doily Sisters, called the Doily Sisters.
Right. How great that you were able to, and that's what we do on TCM, how great that you were able to keep these movies alive by paying homage to them and tweaking them just a little bit on your show.
Well, the good thing, too, is that by themselves, if you didn't know what we were doing, they were amazing and funny.
Yep.
And if you knew the movie, it was twice as funny and twice as amazing.
Yeah, it's true.
So, you know, it pleased everybody, thank goodness, or most everybody.
Right. Well, a little bit later tonight, we'll see your takeoff sketch, the Doily Sisters. And although we can't watch the Doily Sisters, we'll get a great taste of Betty Grable right here. So here she is from 1943, Sweet Rosie O'Grady. It's such a delight to watch anything that Betty Grable does. I see why she's such a favorite of yours.
Oh, yeah.
Now, the sketch that we're about to watch is different from a typical Carol Burnett show spoof because this one...
This was the whole show.
Wow.
The entire show. And we learned it all in, well, actually in 3 days because we would have a run-through. We'd start on Monday and we'd have a run-through on Wednesday for the writers and everybody. And then we'd take block on Thursday and then do it on Friday. But again, the material was so good. When it's good, it's easy to learn.
I can't imagine learning a 40 or 42-minute sketch in 3 days, but you did it.
Yeah, we
and
did.
You made it look easy. Well, here it is from 1972, the Doily Sisters. Carol, my hat's off to you and all of your castmates for learning that and delivering it so perfectly. And because there's no special guest stars, it really allows these core cast to shine.
And I'm sorry you couldn't show the real movie, but because this was a real takeoff on it.
Right.
In the original, when Betty Grable winds up in the hospital, she was bandaged and had full makeup.
Of course.
Now we did it where I had full makeup and
one little band.
And one little patch, and Harvey went, "Oh my God!"
That's my favorite moment in the whole thing. You're hardly going to recognize her. It's
one little patch. And the song that I did afterwards, like she doesn't know who she is.
Right.
Hello, who are you?
Yeah.
Was written the night before by Missy Welch, who was one of our writers with her husband Ken Welch. And she said she ought to have an amnesia song. She wrote that Thursday night, and we taped it on Friday, but I learned it early that morning before we went into rehearsal. But it's so well written, it was easy to remember. But
That's
it's a
insane.
very funny song.
Yes, it's hilarious.
And Vicki doing that dumb voice.
The three of us are going to form a duet?
A trio.
Oh, that's even better.
She stole every scene she was in.
Jenny and Rosie. Now, obviously, with all of the transitions and costume changes and makeup changes, there must have been a lot of tape breaks in this one, right?
Well, I don't like to keep our studio audience waiting.
Right.
So I used to have a bet with the crew that I could do a skin out change faster than they can move the couch over there. So everybody would go fast. So we did not take a long time to do it. So our studio audience, it might have taken an hour and a half, a couple of hours. So it's like when people sitting to watch a Broadway show, a couple of hours, and that's it.
Right.
So that they're not sitting there forever waiting for us to do all our thing,
Yeah.
And so our whole gang, we just boom, 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 boom.
And we have to give special mention to Bob Mackie on this one
Oh,
because
my-
those costumes, the makeup, the lipstick and the powder and the
Yeah,
perfume.
all of that,
It's mind-blowing that he did all of that, and they're so intricate, all of them.
all of it. And
Week after week.
detailed and funny. I don't think there's anybody who is a designer can touch Bob Mackie with everything. He can do beautiful stuff. He can do funny stuff. He can do costumes. He can do all incredible. So there's some bit that all they do is this and all they do is that. He could do it all. And with this, 65 to 70 costumes a week he would design. Now do the math. Over 11 years, that's about 17,000 costumes he designed.
It's remarkable. And he's still going strong
Yes,
today.
he
We
is,
should
yeah.
let people know. What was it like for you to have your own Betty Grable hair?
Well, I wore that wig a lot in different sketches and all, it was kind of a standard that Bob did, yeah.
Did you have a favorite costume? I mean, I'm thinking back to the great orange costume that you had on in this one. I mean, were there favorite looks that you got to wear?
They were all wonderful, and
really
I loved
were.
the fact that he had Vicki and me looking like twins, which June Haver and Betty Grable looked like in the original
For sure.
Doily Sisters,
When you think back, and here you are telling me that this sketch, of course, was the entire show that week. Can you believe that you got to do this?
No. And I'm grateful. Nobody likes to get old, but I'm old. And but I'm glad I was there at that time because today you couldn't do that. There would be no network that would, again, costumes, 28-piece live orchestra.
Wow.
Guest stars, this, that, so forth. It couldn't be done today.
Well, thank God you did it.
Me too.
And thank
So
God we can
I'm
show it.
glad I was there then because I had that opportunity.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't have it today.
Huh. Well, thank you so much, Carol. Stick around because we have another film to talk about next.
Yeah.
A terrific musical biopic starring Red Skelton and Fred Astaire from 1950.
Next on TCM, 3 Little Words, then 42nd Street, and later, Gold Diggers of 1933. TCM's just in it for the money tonight.
Toast the holidays with the TCM Wine Club. The perfect gift of wine with the